views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hola everyone, welcome to Open, the one and only show bringing the best of the Bronx, New York, and the world straight to you. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. Leading things off, we find out about a Puerto Rican tradition and celebration called Fiestas de la Cruz. After that, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we'll learn about the early detections, warning signs in our youth. And after that, we'll learn about an interactive theatrical performance coming to Pregones Theater. And then a mommy-to-be is back with their 8th annual baby shower, providing moms and moms-to-be with unique opportunities. And later on in the show, Bobby C. brings us up to date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And finally, we'll sit down with Bronx native hip-hop artist Rob Solis to find out about his latest video, Together. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is coming your way, because now we are officially open. Hello and welcome to Open, everyone. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche for the next hour. Always inviting you to get social with us online. That's right. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, don't forget to follow moi on Twitter, Instagram, FB, Snapchat, LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So we're going to learn a little bit about La Fiesta de la Cruz. It's an annual tradition celebrated by Puerto Ricans in the East Harlem community, intended to strengthen community and family ties while ensuring these traditions remain alive. And joining us now to share more about this year's event, we welcome the director of Lo Plenero de la 21, Juan Gutierrez. Hello and welcome.
Good morning, Rina, and good morning to all the Open and BronxNet viewers and fans.
Thank you.
Thank you
for
for the
acknowledging
invitation.
everybody. Oh,
Very
we
glad.
love having you on it. We love the services that you're providing our community. I mean, of course, with keeping the tradition of Bomba en Plena alive, but these fiestas now that I think myself, as a New Yorican, born second generation, I'm very fascinated in keeping alive within the urban community, right? Because I'm not originally from the island, and this is, I understand, a festival that is celebrated on the island, and it's celebrated in El Barrio for very many years. Can you give me a little background on what Fiesta de la Cruz represents?
Of course, it's a tradition of a celebration and adoration to the cross. It has a religious background and motivation, but it's from the people. You know, it has something to do more than 200 years ago when there was a hurricane coming to the island, and because the damages were minor, and it was a coincidence that happened on the 2nd of May, which is the eve of the Day of the Cross. And Puerto Ricans are, having that religious sentiment and feeling, they associated all that, and then they paid the adoration more than ever from that very first time. That was 1787.
Wow. So this
Yes.
is a long tradition.
Oh yes indeed. But it's not like an going outdoors festival like you are used to. The cultural, it is very much cultural, of course, but it has been kept among families and neighborhoods. And then, let's say my mother is a devotee to the cross, and she wants to pay that promise. It's a pagando promesas to the cross. And there's a series of 19 chanted rosaries or songs. Very, very beautiful, very Caribbean, very funky, groovy, swinging, you know, because it was everything was molded and musicalized by a great musician that really had a footprint in New York, Cesar Augusto Cohen. A great piano player, great band leader. He put together all these chanted rosaries in the musical context.
How many years ago?
Huh?
How many years ago did this?
Oh, that happened in the early 20th century.
In the early
But
20th century.
yes.
Yeah, no. I want to
Of
know
course.
all the details because you're keeping this alive.
Yes, the thing is that communities and neighborhoods, they celebrate according to what the dynamics of that particular neighborhood. Let's say Cangrejo, because there's a lot of percussion, and then the music was played on the background of drums. But then it came from Ponce, from the southern city of Ponce. There were violins and there were guitars, but there's always a harmonic or melodic instrument providing the melodical aspect. And
So what
it's
you're
a
saying to
leading-
me is that you were able to identify like the towns according to the instruments?
Well, yes, because let's say Loíza, you go to Loíza, you know, when you go to Loíza, what are you going to do in terms of the food? Is a lot of seafood, a lot of, let's say, cangrejos, right? Shellfish.
Got it.
So that's why how you go, alcapurrias, right?
Yeah, well,
So,
definitely in El
there
Barrio,
you go.
Acapurria, no?
there you go, there you
Well,
go.
I'm
So-
just bringing it up to speed in today's day and
course,
age, right? And the fact that you continue to honor this tradition in El Barrio. What would people expect this Saturday, celebrating
basically,
Fiesta de Cruz?
Yeah, well, you know, Los Planeros have been celebrating this tradition for 32 years. Okay, and we really kept it as a follow-up to the elders who were celebrating this tradition. And Los Planeros have always been trying to connect with the community, with the sense of the community, with the dynamics of the community. It's important. That's how we feed.
Right.
You know, in terms of the music, in terms of the expressions. And it was very important to us as we were starting to, you know, go out there as an organization. We started as a group, then as an organization, keeping the traditions, trying to embrace those traditions from our elders. So we did La Fiesta de Cruz, we did Las Fiestas Navideñas, who are very popular, and other celebrations that have been happening in not only El Barrio, but nearby communities like in the Bronx, of course.
So this Saturday, right, based on
Yes.
everything you're sharing, is like the theme of this event obviously is to celebrate the cross. But is there going to be like songs saying that have that rosary
Oh, yes,
melody, like, and then you're also going to have the percussion of Los Pleneros de la 21.
Yes. But the rosaries are chanted.
Right.
You know, so these are songs. So what we do, we lead the public, the audience. We start the songs and they respond to us like a verso coro, verse and chorus, in a call and response matter, you know. And they know for a fact what's happening. Everybody knows. Now there's always newcomers that, because of curiosity, they want to know about Fiesta de Cruz, and that's the perfect place to go. You know, it's a true community event that you want to see the community in action, what's happening, and have a good time in good company, go there.
Yeah, it sounds like something that we all could use right about now
Of
in
course.
today's day and age.
course.
So thank you for making sure that we maintain this tradition, and thank you for putting it up annually in El Barrio. Yes, you had some last words.
Well, I need to thank you and BronxNet, because BronxNet have been always very supportive of La Fiesta de Cruz. They have come to document, you know, the crew has come there and document by filming what's happening. So they are putting a historic piece for, you know, for the future, hopefully.
Right, for the next generations.
yes,
Yes,
indeed.
and we're sharing it with you guys right now. And thank you for always coming and sharing your
Rhina,
knowledge, Juan.
You made my day.
Oh,
Oh yeah, you did.
thank you,
You
Juan.
guys
Thank
made
you,
my
Juan.
day. Thank you
Juan.
very much.
No, and you guys, La Fiesta de Cruz is taking place on Saturday, May 6th at 7 p.m. at Los Pleneros de la 21, which is at Julia de Burgos at 1680 in El Barrio.
There
You
you
wanted
go.
to say something?
1680 Lexington
You-
Avenue
Avenue.
and 106th Street.
And
okay?
106th Street.
7 o'clock.
At 7 o'clock. And their website was up there as well for more information, which was Los Pleneros de la 21. .org. There it goes.
Yeah,
Los
but
Pleneros de la
212
21.
yeah.
.org.
212-427-5221.
I love it. He really wants you guys to go, so I hope you guys go, or at least consider going. I think I'm considering going because I'm telling you, we can all use this love just in the air. All right, we have to take a quick break, but we'll be back with more Open when we return. Don't go anywhere.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the Creative Galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Live with a human for a while and you get to know a few things. Like, I know she does strange tricks for no treats. But the one thing I will never for the life of me know is how she gets so tiny and inside that box. Natalie, how do you get so tiny?
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you? Gary, financial aid forms. Biology homework, G. Picking a college, man. You and us go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos.
Hello and welcome back to Open, everyone. We're always inviting you to get social with us. That's right. Tweet us at BronxNet TV and tweet me too at Rhina Valentin. So, we are actually going to skip this segment and we're going to move along into the Pregones segment. Yeah. So let me just move that along because that person is a little behind. So, okay. So here we have theater of war, right? It's a unique form of theater which enhances the audience's experience with a discussion on powerful issues that impact society. And on May 6th, they will present scenes from Sophocles' Ajax. And here now to share more, we welcome the artistic director of Theater of War Productions, Brian Doris, and the actor who will be playing the role of Ajax, Bronx Walk of Famer, David Zayas. I had to throw that in there. Well, of course, we have to acknowledge that. That was a great honor, and the fact that and the fact that you still live in the Bronx, and in all your endeavors, you kept it real.
I'm from the Bronx. I'm a Bronx man. That's it.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I love it. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you here on set.
I'm excited to be here.
And sorry for that. We had to switch around some segments, but here we are, and we're going to talk about Theater of War, and we're also going to talk about the impact that it will serve within our community and during these trying times. Yeah. So before we talk about Ajax, let's talk a little bit about your choice in I guess, working with Greek philosophy.
Yeah. So I was a nerd in college. I studied Greek and Latin, and everyone told me that no one would ever be interested in those things, and I would never make a living with those ancient languages. But I got this hunch that if we could just simply take these ancient plays that describe universal themes like loss and love and betrayal and sacrifice, and now what things like mental illness and things that are all too familiar to us now, 2,500 years later, if we could just simply put these plays in front of audiences who'd lived these experiences, audiences with skin in the game, that something powerful would happen. And so for the last 10 years, we've been traveling the country and the world, performing on military bases, prisons, hospitals, clinics, you name it. And we learn things from our audiences every time that help us refine how we present these ancient plays.
Yeah, I love the fact that it's interactive, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, but I'm curious to know what, I guess, inspired you or enrolled you to take on this role.
Well, when I was asked to do it and then I read, Ajax, I was like, wow. The one thing about art is that art opens the eyes of many people who won't have that opportunity to see certain things having to do with their lives, having to do with, you know, things like PTSD, things like dealing with abuse, different things. Art is always a window for somebody who don't usually have that opportunity to open the window and see a form of art, whether it's a play, a film, anything, and that they can then understand their feelings and understand what's going on. And I think this is a great opportunity. It's a great place to do that, you know. And I'm so happy they're doing it in the Bronx and in this venue, because it's going to open up, enlighten a lot of Bronxites that are going to come and see it. And I just, it's a great opportunity for me to include myself in that.
Oh, we love that you have just taken a little break for a minute, just for a second from the big screen and bringing it back home and being up close and personal, because from what I understand, it is interactive, which I also find very fascinating. So how does it work? There's a presentation that happens, and then the questions are asked from the audience. Are they enacted, or are they reenacted, or is there a Q&A, or how is that presented?
Yes, so David and two company members from Pagones are going to perform two scenes from this ancient play by Sophocles called Ajax, a play about the suicide of a great respected warrior, and from the Trojan War. And then as soon as they're done with the scenes, we bring up 4 members of the community from the Bronx, not experts, not academics, not people on book tour, but ordinary people who've lived through the experience of war, or many things that are described in the play. And they respond from their guts and their hearts just for a few minutes to the plays. And then we go out in the audience after they've started the conversation, and we ask the audience questions. And the discussion that happens in the audience lasts longer than the performance. The discussion is the objective. And when people stand up and share their stories, it always transcends the beauty, the power of what's happened on stage. People who've never heard of these plays say more powerful things than what the actors deliver to them.
So when you present this, is it presented in that language, or that style of language, or is it urbanized?
It's a great question. We rely upon great performers like David to make it feel direct and real. And these are my translations, which I've written with these particular audiences in mind, with the hope that they'll be direct. There's no reason for it to be pretentious or highfalutin.
Yeah, the one thing about it, whether it was 2,500 years ago, whether it was Shakespeare or Sophocles, it relates to what's happening now, and that's the beauty of what we do. Everything that happened 2,000 years ago, if there was a play that happened 2,000 years ago, somehow it relates to what's going on today, because history consistently repeats itself. And to have an outlet to understand that is really interesting and so important.
So this Ajax, right? Is this particular character suffering from PTSD, or is it geared more towards mental issues?
Well, I if you don't mind,
please.
From reading it, because I was very excited. I read it like 2 or 3 times, and I read the whole thing actually. Went back and read different versions of it. Back in the Greek wars, I believe they were at war for like almost 80, 90 years, right? Consistently. And sometimes when, what I found interesting about this character is this guy he is the leader. He is the head honcho of that country and of that, and that war, general in that war. And for him to break down, and when you see it, to break down in that manner, and then his reaction towards it it's so important to translating it to today. Someone who's been at war for 10 years, someone who's been in many tours in Iraq or Afghanistan that come back and then now have to deal with society, but they're dealing it in a certain way. And sometimes it's just not, war isn't normal.
Right, yeah, I feel you. I already got it. It's the transitioning back to reality of what is the new reality, because that it becomes their reality. And then at what point do you figure out what is your reality? It could get really
And in much smaller form, relating to someone who maybe grew up in an impoverished neighborhood who has to deal with confrontation in a different way, and how they're going to approach that.
Yeah, so in the end, it's really about accepting accepting oneself and working through whatever obstacles present themselves.
Yeah.
I got it. It sounds like a really fascinating event. I love the interactive component to it, and they're kind of wrapping us up. But I'm really curious to know, before we go, how you plan on, easing somebody who's not well versed in acting to improvise.
Oh, you mean the audience itself?
Yes.
Yeah, no, they don't need any coaxing. What happens is that people who've never heard of these plays hear their own stories reflected in the play, and then they get up and they say the most beautiful, most powerful things that were written inside them that they'd never said, let alone in private, in a public setting. And it makes our job feel so much more significant than I think we normally feel, like it's of service, like we're actually moving the needle in some way and helping people, and that's the goal. That's the goal.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
David,
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the initiative to heal our community, because that's what you're setting out to do in an artistic form, which we love. I love. Thank you. All right, you guys, once again, Theater of War's production of Sophocles. I said Sophocles earlier, but it's Sophocles. Ajax will be presented Saturday, May 6th at 7 p.m. at Pregones Theater, which is located on 575 Walton Avenue in the Bronx. And for more information, visit pregones.org. Okay, we are taking a quick break, but don't go anywhere. There's more Open coming up next.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
I rescued Toast from a shelter in 2011. I love Toast because she's a lazy diva. Toast makes me laugh. When I walked into the shelter, I knew she was special.
Maybe he's really focused.
Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today.
Hi, welcome back to Open. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Astor Services and Children and Families is helping teach and raise awareness of early warning signs in young people. And here now to share more, please welcome the supervising psychologist at Astor Services, Dr. Jamila Condrington. Did I say that correct?
Yes, you did.
Dr. Condrington.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for being here. Glad you could make it.
Thank you for having us.
We're a little worried about you. But, loving the services that Astor Services is providing. We've had, I guess, previous members of the establishment itself come and visit and give us a little insight. So just share a little bit more about what's coming up. I know you just recently had a gala, and I know the idea is that, as far as I'm concerned, within the United States, this is probably the service that we need most.
Yes, so as the Services for Children and Families, we have a large number of our organization in Dutchess County, but we also have quite a number of programs that are expanding in the Bronx. We have a number of outpatient clinics, we have a therapeutic nursery, we have a number of prevention programs, and we have an expansion of mental health programs in the schools. And we're very excited about the ability to bring mental health inside of the schools so that young people have greater accessibility and
just tell me what those services look like, because I agree with you. Just on a personal note, one of the things that really assisted me in being a mom was having early psychology group sessions that were offered by the school as a workshop to parents. It's just something optional. And it was so helpful to see how each individual is going through the same thing, regardless of what racial background or cultural background or economic status they lived by. And so I'm curious to know how those services look inside of the system.
So usually we start out with mental health screening. And that is a service that's very important because oftentimes in young people, whether they be parents or educators or other caring professionals, they don't have the awareness of what might be developmentally appropriate and how they may be able to detect whether something is within the normal realm of behavior, especially with teenagers, because the behaviors can be risky, or whether it might be a risk factor for mental health condition. So the screeners could be anywhere from depression, anxiety, commonly concerned about is ADHD, and then they provide a referral for treatment. So the referrals can range anywhere from outpatient mental health care inside of the schools, or sometimes young people have more serious issues with respect to drug and alcohol use, and they need referrals for specialized services.
So what are the age ranges that you work with primarily?
It's very wide. We start at, well, our therapeutic nursery is very low, and we start the outpatient services at about 3.5, all the way up through 18, and young people can stay enrolled in our clinics past their 18th birthday up through 21.
So the services are primarily geared towards the kids, not the parents. Because what I was referring to is like there was this early childhood psychology group that was just there to service the parents in assisting the development of the child, because you know it all starts at home, right? So I'm just so you work directly with the individuals that could possibly be diagnosed in whatever systems you use to diagnose them.
Yes, well, it's both. The child or the adolescent is our primary client. However, we understand that the parent and the larger family is the young person's greatest resource. So we offer an extension of treatment to the family. Sometimes they can be parent groups. Sometimes they can be services that involve the parent in what we call collateral services, where the parent can receive one-on-one support around how to manage the difficult emotions and behaviors of the young person. Also, we can assist parents in finding appropriate educational services for their child if they need something that is a combination of mental health services infused in the day-to-day educational program.
So how would a person be able to find out whether Astor Services is being offered within their school? And do they have to be offered in their school, or can they reach out to Astor Services independently?
Yes, so we have 2 standalone mental health clinics, one in the Williamsbridge section of the Bronx, one in the Highbridge section of the Bronx. They can call the main number, which is 718-231-3400. To get started with services, and we accept walk-ins, so parents can come right in without an appointment and be seen. And then if there are school-based services, they can go to either the teacher or the school-based social worker to find out if there is a Astor clinic located within the school.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Once again, you guys, for more information on mental health services and more provided by Astor Services, you can visit their website by going to astorservices.org. All right, we have to take a quick break, but we'll be back with more Open after this.
We are neighbors and best friends.
I love my sister.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Our family is no less than any other family.
So I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy. Oh, and she even talks to it. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Hi, welcome back to Open. It's that time of the year again. That's right, for the annual Mommy to Be Expo happening on May 6th, where recent mothers or moms to be will have the opportunity to learn about everything from childcare to baby products to nutritional advice. And joining us now, we have a preview of 2 different organizations being featured at this year's event. We welcome marketing representative of Bright Waters Health, Tish Craft, and owner of Once Upon a Child, Erica Olivo. Hello and welcome, ladies.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. Well, we are always excited to showcase whomever's being presented at Mommy to Be, and we love that they always bring all these different components to, I guess, what one would go through in becoming a mom. And you know, I'd actually like to, I guess we'll start with you because your work is geared more towards the preventative.
Yes.
So let's just talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
Bright Waters Health.
Yes. At Bright Waters, what we do, it is called a CGX test. And basically that is a cancer prevention test. And what it does is it tests for 39 mutations. It's not diagnosing you. Basically, if you have a family history of cancer, or also based off of, you know, your environment or lifestyle, if you smoke or anything of that nature, you have to be at least 18 years of age to take the test. It's a saliva test, and it's done in a matter of seconds. It tests for the 39 mutations, and it can identify what you are at risk for. So, for instance, I have breast cancer that runs in my family, ovarian cancer, it tests for colon cancer, as well as other different cancers. But for the most part, it's about being proactive and being preventative. Catching it, if you are at risk, we work with your doctor, and you can monitor it. Monitor along with a genetic counselor.
So how important is that for a mom to do?
It's very important because, you know, as a mother myself, I have children, you know, so you want to be, you know, you want to make a roadmap in the event that you are at risk for cancer, you're able to catch it in the early stages. Keep in mind that, you know, someone with colon cancer in stage 4 has about a 95 to 98 percentile, you know, survival rate. Of course, catching it in the early stages, you know, you can live through it.
Isn't it sad that we have to like monitor this particular disease so regularly, almost like kind of like as a matter of fact,
Yes.
part of our lives now?
Yes. It is. It's very sad. You know, it's something that, you know, a lot of people don't like to talk about. But at the end of the day, you know, when you are living for your family and you have children, you know, that need you to be there for them, I mean, it is our due diligence and responsibility, you know, to make sure that we're here to see them through.
Right. It's always safer to
Of
know
course.
than to not know.
Of course.
It's always safer to just, I guess, you know, because most people, they won't do it because they don't want to know. But if you do know, then at least you can do something about it as opposed to finding out when you have it.
Exactly.
Right. So I love that. Thank you. So Once Upon a Child.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about this fabulous service that you offer and what inspired you to even create it.
Sure. So our story is a little interesting. I'm actually an ER doctor, so I love this idea as an aside. And my husband, he was a teacher. And so we came from these 2 different backgrounds. And after we had children, we have 2 little ones. And you realize, especially in this part of the country, it's so expensive, right? Everything. You can't afford affordable housing. Forget keeping them dressed with all the toys and gadgets and things. It's hard. It's hard to be a parent financially, and it's hard to have your child grow up in a very materialistic world. So our store, Once Upon a Child, we're located on Central Avenue, a little bit north of the Bye Bye Baby and the Babies R Us. We're in the Scarsdale area across from the Greenberg Nature Center. What we do is we're a retail store, but we buy your gently used children's items. So when your children grow out of their shoes and their clothes, or they don't want the bike or the toy or the stroller, or you got the one you didn't really want at your shower, you bring that in. There's no appointment necessary. Monday through Saturday we buy. We're open on Sundays as well. We look through your items and we give you a cash quote. So for the things we'd like to purchase, it's not consignment where you're waiting for it to sell. You get cash on the spot to put in your pocket and do whatever it is you need to do with that money. If you need to shop for your child, you shop while we're doing your purchase, and there you go.
And I don't really see anything wrong with it. I mean, you know, and I'm saying it as a mom myself, who a mom to a 7-year-old, where you know sometimes they grow, they have these little growth spurts, but they only wear an item like once. And the books they obviously are going to outgrow as they keep developing. So this is wonderful.
These things are items that I just took from the store the other day. This stroller, just as an example, we have strollers underneath there is a breastfeeding pillow that's brand new in a package. These are all going to go as a raffle gift at the event on Saturday.
So this is a lightly used.
It's a lightly used jogging stroller. This
Let's push it in a little bit, just so that
this usually retails for around $200. You know, jogging strollers are usually pretty expensive. We're selling it at our store at $70. But
let me see this.
Yeah, this is
You're selling this for $70.
Yeah, and we have strollers from $30 up to. I mean, there are stroller systems, as you guys know, that are like $1,200, like crazy systems. And we sold one recently for $300 that retailed at $1,200. So for me, as a parent, there's 3 things, right? We're good for your wallet, because clearly we can't afford to buy good food and send our children to fun events and save for education and health and all these things if we're spending money on brand new Jordans every year. But I have Jordans, I have Uggs, they're gently used, they're $10.
Right. Nice.
We're good for your children, because your children should be playing. They should not worry about getting dirty or ruining their clothes. They shouldn't be attached to the material things. They should be able to be kids because their jeans were $3.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you so much.
You're
All right,
welcome.
well, and you can learn more about these ladies and lots of other tables that are going to be present at this year's Mommy to Be Expo, taking place on Saturday, May 6th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that's happening at the UFT headquarters located on 2500 Halsey Street in the Bronx. And for more information, you can visit their Facebook page, Mommy to Be Expo. All right, we have to take another break, but stick around. Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next.
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the Creative Galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
This is Bobby C reporting from the world's most famous arena. We begin your look at sports with the New York Rangers, and for the Broadway Blue Shirts, home is where the victories are. After falling behind to the Senators in Ottawa, trailing this series 2-0, the Rangers have bounced back here in the second round, taking the first 2 games at Madison Square Garden.
It felt like a new series coming back here. We were confident that we can beat this team and beat them 4 games, so we're going in the right direction. You look at teams that win the Stanley Cup, they get contributions from all 4 lines, whether it's offensively, penalty killing, physical play. It's got to be some way that you're going to contribute, and it's nice that we've been able to do it on the score sheet lately.
The Rangers have been scoring plenty of goals in bunches, but again, it's still been the play of Henrik Lundqvist, who holds Ottawa to a 4-1 win.
The last 2 games here, even 3 games, we've been playing some really good hockey, doing a lot of good things and scoring some big goals and getting goals from all 4 lines. It's huge for us, and but attention to details, I think, sticks out when you look at these games.
Offensively, Nick Holden got the Rangers going in the first period.
You look around this room and there's a lot of experience, especially in the playoffs, getting deeper in the playoffs. So I don't think there was ever a time early on that we were kind of frustrated or panicking or anything like that. We knew the style of game we needed to play, and right now we're there, and we just need to continue to play that way, and can't take our foot off the gas.
The The Rangers dominated the Senators again Thursday night at Madison Square Garden, winning 4-1. The same score as Game 3. Oscar Lindbergh scored twice. Nick Holden and Chris Kreider had the other 2 goals. The series is even now, but it certainly doesn't feel that way after the last 2 games. The Eastern Conference semifinal series returns to the ice in Game 5 Saturday night in Ottawa. Game 6 is Tuesday back in New York. In the other series, Pittsburgh leads Washington 3-1 despite losing star Sidney Crosby to a vicious hit. The Pens came out and won Game 4 without him. Surging Nashville leads St. Louis 3-1, and Anaheim and Edmonton are tied 2-2. From the NBA postseason landscape, Golden State leads Utah 2-0 in the West, while Houston and San Antonio are tied 1-1. The Spurs are without playmaker Tony Parker. In the East, Boston has rallied behind Isaiah Thomas, who recently lost his sister in a car crash, to advance in the playoffs and now take a 2-1 series lead against Washington. Cleveland leads the other series 2-0 against Toronto. The NBA draft lottery is coming up, and the NBA draft is next month. Rumors are swirling that if the Knicks stay at that projected 7th slot, they are interested in French point guard Frank Ntilikina. He's 18 years old. The Knicks, of course, still need to figure out what they're doing with Carmelo Anthony, and for that matter, what Melo is doing with the Knicks too. NBPA Executive Director Michelle Roberts told The Vertical that Phil Jackson was desperately trying to shame Anthony with his comments last month. So much drama. In the NFL, beast mode will be back. The Raiders acquired Marshawn Lynch's rights from Seattle. The 31-year-old Oakland native is heading home, where he'll also partner with the Raiders for his apparel company to market beast mode attire. Hopefully, the stuff is cheaper than Lonzo Ball's $495 kicks that dropped yesterday. Insert shaking my head emoji here. The Jets grabbed tight end Jordan Leggett in the 5th round of the NFL draft. Leggett is another tight end who should play early. The 6'5" rookie has the ideal size to be a red zone threat for Gang Green. Only problem is he may not know which team he's playing for. He accidentally asked fans on social media to Photoshop him in a Patriots jersey. He meant to write Jets jersey. Everyone wants to play for New England. Speaking of the Pats, the Champs are bringing in an indoor football player and former soccer player for a tryout. Josh Gable makes 80-yard field goals. The Pats are going to give the kicker a try. Why not? The Giants are rolling the dice on quarterback project Davis Webb as the possible future replacement for Eli Manning. I would expect Webb to be the 3rd stringer, which puts a guy like Geno Smith on the hot seat. Several players will be looking over their shoulders this spring and summer after the Giants had a productive draft. On the baseball diamond, the Bronx Bombers have some rookies of their own blooming this spring. Forget Rookie of the Year award, Aaron Judge is going for MVP, garnering comparisons to Derek Jeter and smashing homers on a near nightly basis. Judge is making a case for some serious hardware. We go inside the locker room for more. Calendar turns over, but the Yankees keep winning series. Just how important has it been to keep winning series and playing so well here at home?
I mean, it's always good to get wins, you know. So that's what you play for. That's you want to play till the end and play for a championship. So we have a really great young team right now. Guys are battling, guys are helping each other out, and we're going in the right direction. That's what we want. We're going to keep this going and keep helping each other, pushing each other in the right direction.
When you have some youth and you know, there's some question marks. You know, I think it's reasonable to ask, you know, those questions. But from the inside, you know, the expectations are here are always to win. And, you know, I think we had a lot of confidence in spring training. And obviously we've played well to start the season. And we've weathered, you know, a couple pretty big injuries.
I was just hoping you could talk about your performance tonight and then the bullpen getting an opportunity to basically win this game for the Yankees.
Me felt good tonight. You know, just trying to repeat my delivery every time I get out there and just hand the ball to Chapman. But I think the big key of the game was Adam Warren. He came in with 1st and 2nd, no outs. And, you know, he was able to get the next 3 guys out. I thought that was a huge part of the game there. And, you know, he's probably one of the big reasons we won today.
That's what this team's about, picking each other up. And, you know, sometimes our offense won't have it and our pitcher will go out there and, you know, put up zeros. But it's just, you never know who's going to step up. And, that's the cool thing about this team. You know, at any moment, anybody can step up and do something big for this team.
Judge has 13 home runs and 88 at-bats. In his first 2 years at Fresno State, he had 6 homers and 388 at-bats. The Pinstripers climbed out of a 4-run hole that CC Sabathia put them in during the first inning. They are 17-9 and off to Chicago to face the Cubs today in what should be a really interesting May series. 3 games on tap for the Yanks and Cubbies this weekend with plenty of storylines to tell. Lost in the Judge Mania was Matt Holliday's 300th career home run Wednesday night. Congrats to him. The first-place Yankees had an off day / travel day Thursday, while the Amazons had their road matchup with the Braves in Atlanta postponed due to weather. After losing Monday and Tuesday, the Mets bounced back in a big way Wednesday night. Jose Reyes tied his career high with 5 RBI. New York pounded out 20 hits, and Jacob deGrom managed to hang around long enough to get the win, leading the Mets to a 16-5 rout of the Braves. The Mets host Miami this weekend for 3 games, the start of a 6-game homestand in Flushing. Injured Mets pitcher Noah Syndergaard got a second opinion on his torn lat muscle in Los Angeles. Noah injured his lat muscle in Sunday's 23-5 loss to Washington. Yes, 23-5. He could be out 2 months, but this second opinion sounds much more promising for an earlier return. The Mets need him. The Mets are now tied for second in the National League East. The Kentucky Derby is set for Saturday, May 6th. That's tomorrow. A one-eyed horse, Patch, is among the field. If you were curious, a one-eyed horse winning the Kentucky Derby would be a first. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for 5 reasons why you have to love Aaron Judge on Cinco de Mayo. One, Aaron Judge can't be stopped. Judge is lighting it up for the Yankees after his home run Wednesday night. He has the most homers in the first 25 games by a rookie in Major League Baseball history. 2, he's not just hitting dingers, folks. Judge had his first career 3-hit game Wednesday. He had a homer and 2 singles. 3, no one hits them harder and further than Aaron. His homer in the 3rd inning was his 6th long ball of 425 feet or more this season. 4, he's Barry Bonds without the steroids. He's homered every 6.54 at bats. When Barry Bonds set the record with 73 homers in 2001, he homered every 6.52 at bats. 73 homers for 476 at bats. All rise, Yankee fans. Judge is going to hit 80 homers. And 5, most importantly for our Bronx faithful, he's one of us. Number 5, he's a homegrown Yankee. Amen. Add in fellow homegrown Yankee Gary Sanchez back from the DL this weekend in Chicago, and the Yankees have a modern-day Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig 1-2 punch. Happy Cinco de Mayo! That's your sports. We'll see you next time.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs, just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even brought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
Welcome back to Open, everyone. It's now time for this week's Open Artist Spotlight.
The Open Artist Spotlight is made possible in part with public funds from the Bronx Council on the Arts through the New York State Council on the Arts Decentralization Program.
This week's artist is a New York City hip-hop artist striving to create music with a fresh perspective that makes his listeners want to party, all while reflecting his New York City roots. He recently collaborated with Easy Salsero to release his latest single and video together. And here now to share more, we welcome Rob Slees.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
You
Again.
know, Rob, you know, I have the utmost admiration for you in just sticking to your guns, in just designing and creating your own music. And you know, I've read your bio, and I know you, you know, and I've seen you develop throughout the years, and I always have I always give my props to anyone who is just out there creating versus like just trying to become famous.
Yes, and I appreciate you noticing that, because that is the phase now. You know, people do it for the fame; they're not actually doing it for the culture. And I think within that, the art can sometimes get lost in translation.
Well, hip hop is it's really shifted, and it's nice to see it shifting back, though.
Yes, I agree.
And not necessarily through music, but through integrity in verses. I mean, there is still that other hip hop. You know, I guess what are they, like categories of hip hop?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of subcategories and mumble rap and things like that. So you know, it definitely is finding its way back. And New York is certainly you know, getting its sound back and getting the support that you know, from the major DJs that it definitely was lacking for a while. So that's important.
So, you know, in today's show, as you notice, everything is kind of geared towards mental and just enlightening and just coming together, and let's just all join forces and find a way to heal each other. And as far as I'm concerned, that's what your video and this particular release, it loans itself to. So let's talk a little bit about what that was for you. I guess joining forces with somebody who I guess was coming out into the gay community, and just kind of like, hey, you know, it doesn't matter what you're into. It's all about love.
You know, I see a lot of issue with a lot of artists, especially in hip hop, is being comfortable in their own skin. You know, and I'm very comfortable in my skin. So for me to do a record with an artist like EC, who is, you know, openly out, it doesn't make any difference to me. The main objective is making good music and coming together to make music that people can feel. Together was a record that was a little bit outside of my norm in terms of the music that I make. You know, I've done a lot of hardcore stuff, a lot of party stuff, some more provocative stuff. So when we did this record, I had to get into a different place mentally. And I'm glad that I did, because I think this is a really, really big record for us. I think it's a record that, you know, it's bigger than even just the Bronx in New York. I think this is a record that the world needs to hear, especially with what's going on, you know, collectively throughout the U.S. and beyond.
And so what was that like for you? Who wrote the lyrics for this?
We did.
You did them together?
We both did. And so the first step, before we even shot the video, we actually had the luxury of performing it in Times Square in front of, I mean, 10,000 plus. Russell Simmons hosted the event, and just seeing that feedback from a record that people had never heard before. Because it's difficult sometimes to present a record to people that have never heard the record. They're not familiar with it. It's not being embedded in their head by the radio every single day. And the reception we got was just, it was insane. So we looked at each other and we kind of figured, like, we got something here, and we need to kind of make sure that this is, you know, this is heard. Not to stop what we're doing in our careers collectively, but overall, this is a record that I think needs to be pushed and heard.
Well, in listening to it myself yesterday, what I got from it is like there's this collective consciousness happening with all of us right now. And for me, it's a beautiful thing. And that's the flip side to the other negativity that's going on, right? So we don't pay attention. I mean, not that we shouldn't be paying attention, but if we don't focus on what's going on that negative side, and we kind of like flip it and go, you know, at the end of the day, it's bringing us all together. And you created a new style of music for yourself, because I've heard your music in the past, and it's quite vulgar. I mean, you know, and that's me being diplomatic.
Some of it can be. Some of it can be.
It's all good though, because again, we're talking about subcategories. And this was a total switch for you.
Yeah, it definitely was. And a lot of the records that I'm making now are going to be more in the crossover lane, more party friendly. But you know, the type of records that you can perform long term. You know, records that can be performed anywhere. I don't want to make a record just particularly for one type of people. I want to make a record for everyone. And I think we had a great start with this song Together.
Well, I think we're going to play it at the end of this segment, but I do want to know what your experience was like bringing everybody together to make this video, because it looked really loving.
You know, to be honest, it was very natural. And I think that comes off in the video when you watch it. It wasn't forced. People got together. Everyone there had a really good vibe, a really warm vibe. The record was playing in the background as people kind of congregated and talked. And I think it just fit the mood. It fit the mood really well because everyone understood what it was about. It wasn't concocted. I've been on the sets of a lot of videos and the director's yelling out, do this, do that, stop this, more of that. And this was kind of just, the director just kind of got to sit back and just chill because it kind of took its own life.
And so before we go, I just want to just share with everyone what you hope this record will do or have serve in this fusion, because you brought a fusion style together also.
Definitely.
And so it kind of could have its own classic sound, which is what I'm assuming you're aiming for.
Sure.
But where do you see it going from now?
Well, the idea is definitely just to not to be cliche, but to bring people together. It's awareness, and it doesn't really matter what the awareness is for you, be it sexuality, be it racism, be it, our rights civilly, all of these things, just to kind of wake people up a little bit and just kind of get them all on the same page. Like, it's not us against them, it's all of us together, kind of trying to get through this. So, the more we allow others and certain people to separate us, the harder it becomes for us to move forward as a people, as a race, as humans.
Beautiful. Well said. I always say we're one race. We're the human race.
That's the way I see it.
One love, baby. Woo, thank you, Rob Solis in the house.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yes. Once again, for more on Solis, you can follow him on Twitter at SolisNYC. And that is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through and to you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the recablecast tonight and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin. And from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor. Adios, happy 5 de Mayo, and stay blessed. Yes. One love. One love.
They say we are only as strong as we are united, and as weak as we are divided.
Oh, this is wrong. This isn't right. We stand together, united forever to win this fight.
What's going on, like Marvin said? Turn on the TV, more innocent lives dead. Time that we should all come together instead. People choose sides from the lies they've been fed. War against terror, we fighting over color. Separated instead of uniting with one another. And talk is cheap, actions speak louder. Cause all lives matter, all lives matter. If I can bring them all back, I would bring them all back. Mr. President, I think I need a call back. Take a look around us, we can't just ignore that. We can't just ignore that.
No está bien, unidos siempre en la guerra ardiente podemos vencer. We can't win this fight alone, we're much stronger together, finding peace within our home. We can overcome any weather.
Are we ready to fight together? Are we ready to stay together? Are we ready to love together? It's time for us to come together. We must learn to forgive together, so we can all live together. To end all the hate together. Now let's all get